and are we live now?
We are live.
Okay, we're talking about being afraid of people.
Yeah, well, we're talking about different things that trigger us pre- and post-pandemic.
Right, whether it's more... I was saying that I feel triggered having to do things remotely because I live alone, and I had a year and a half of my only socialization being over streams and such. So I don't like doing them now unless it's a thing like this, where it's a real thing in person interacting with another person. And then you were saying that you feel more nervous being around other people, which I was gonna throw out. I also feel nervous around people. I feel nervous all the time. They both make me nervous. But it's sort of like I was gonna say it's the devil you know, but it's the opposite. I've spent too much time knowing one devil, and now I'd rather deal with the other devil.
You've had Al Pacino, now you want Elizabeth Hurley, even if you know Elizabeth Hurley is objectively the worst Satan in this analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that movie good?
Which one, the original or the remake?
The original I know is good. The remake, I got into this argument with my podcast co-host recently.
It's not?
But we were asking, we were like, it's not, right?
It's not.
It's not. I think it's not good, but is it?
I think, look, Monkey Bone, I think, is more on the fence.
Monkey Bone, Monkey Bone.
I like Monkey Bone a lot.
I will stand for Monkey Bone.
I think Brendan Fraser's a hard one because he's so likable that I feel like a lot of movies that he's in, he sort of elevates into being better. Like, the movie's a good movie, it's a good action adventure, but like, he makes it like a really great film. Yeah,
this is what we were talking about, is that when he got cast in The Mummy, I'm sorry, this is not how you start your show.
Oh, this is great. Let's just get into it.
When he got cast in The Mummy, we'd forgotten, they kind of hid him in the marketing. His face was not in the poster, his name was not above the title, the poster was the sand face.
Right.
It was the sand mummy face in the middle of the desert.
Was that his big role? Was that his big break?
Well, he had done George of the Jungle. He had done Encino Man. He had done Airheads.
Right.
George of the Jungle was the one right before Mummy.
Okay.
And that was a big hit, and he is like the lead guy. But you realize, like, in my mind,
he's a titular role.
The titular role. I was of an age where I was like, Brendan Fraser, best movie star. George of the Jungle, incredible. When they were marketing The Mummy, they were like, this is a guy who appeals to children. We're trying to sell him as an action hero.
Yeah.
I think people were surprised that he worked well in that mode.
Yeah.
And then you're like, of course, it feels so obvious, Brendan Fraser, action hero. And then you look at the rest of his career, and you're like, he did 2 more Mummy movies, and pretty much everything else he did was goofy or dramatic. He doesn't really do other action roles like that.
Yeah.
Like, he does a lot of family movies, goofy comedies. He did a couple dramas.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of actors in that group, though. Like, Jim Carrey never really did an action movie, right? Like, there's a lot of these. So I feel like we want, like, there to be a big action thing in the 90s, and there was a little bit with Michael Bay, but, like, it's kind of dropped off. Like, they're not considered, like, the high-tent blockbusters they once were.
Here's, like, a point of comparison, right? Nicolas Cage.
So great.
Weird character actor, right?
Yes.
Oddball leading man.
Yes.
Jerry Bruckheimer starts putting him in the action movies.
Right.
Oh, this is so weird. What's Nicolas Cage doing in an action movie? It gave it this, like, interesting, unexpected juice.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a guy who does, like, 10 action movies.
Nicolas Cage is an interesting one, because what is Nicolas Cage doing in any movie? Like, just, no, that's me, like, as a literal level, what was Nicolas Cage's choices doing in any film?
Correct.
Right.
Brendan Fraser, it is surprising that he didn't cash in on the Mummy thing more. That he was like, no, I'm going to do Bedazzled.
Yeah.
I'm going to do Looney Tunes back in action. I'm going to do Monkey Bone. Like, I appreciate
It's only going to work against cartoons.
I think it's cool. That's exactly what I would do in his position. I like those movies.
Definitely do, right?
Yeah. That's the one that's really surprising, that he did another Jay Ward cartoon after George of the Jungle.
Yeah.
That's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Go back to the well one too many times.
I feel like this was, I mean, not to conflate it too much with what was going on in his life, but I feel like maybe the choices of windowing, or like windowing and getting smaller for him, like, or...
But I mean, so I think that was his halcyon run. I think that was when he had the choices.
Great word.
Thank you. I was reaching for something.
I love it.
I think that was when he had the most freedom, and those choices represented his taste. I think when you get to, like, Journey to the Center of the Earth, when you get to Furry Vengeance.
Jesus, what are these films?
Exactly.
You're
this is when the things have dried up, right? Yeah. This is when I think he's not that passionate. I do think he was doing things he wanted to do. I think he's a goofball. I guess I'm just saying I'm impressed that, unlike Cage, he didn't go, like, oh, I got to double down on being cool action guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right?
That he's like a goofy guy.
Right. I love that about him.
I feel like The Rock, like, you know, talk about somebody who's been in The Mummy, The Rock is able to straddle that line very well, that he's like halfway between like, I'm going to do Hobbs and Shaw, but also like he can still play goofy. He can still play against cartoons and like.
I prefer him goofy. That's my preferred Rock mode. Yeah.
Somebody's saying Fraser would be great in a remake of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Agreed?
Correct.
Correct. Bob Hoskins was a weird choice for Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a case where they offered it to like everybody. Conventional movie star,
Literally
and it wouldn't have worked with any of them.
Bill Murray missed it, I believe, because he did not pick up he doesn't check his voicemail.
Yeah.
It's like you have to call Bill Murray and leave a voicemail on his machine. And that's how everyone pitches Bill Murray anything.
Right. He doesn't have an agent. He doesn't have a manager. He has a voicemail line.
Yeah. So he missed the voicemail. Now he likes that. He's so upset about that. I guess he took Garfield or something.
But I don't think he would have worked in that movie.
Really?
I think he's a little. I think he would have been a little too. I think what works so well about Roger Rabbit is that Bob Hoskins is so earnestly invested in it and playing it so straight.
Yeah.
Whereas the thing that's great about Bill Murray, and especially at that point in time, like Ghostbusters is a movie where he's playing like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
And the entire time he's sort of winking at the audience.
Yeah, he's self-aware.
This is silly, right? Ghost, whatever. Anyway, join me for the rest of the film.
Groundhog Day, same.
Right. He can't be Bugs Bunny in a movie that already is about cartoons. Like, you need the straight guy. Eddie Murphy was offered. He's too modern.
Oh wait, you know, Eddie Murphy's response, I think, was the most amazing thing. He said he turned it down because he fundamentally misunderstood the concept of humans working with tunes.
Yes,
which I love because like that means that like he thought that he was actually working against a cartoon.
I don't know. I wonder what he thought.
That phrase is so enticing to me. Nom nom nom. Like, what does that mean? He fundamentally misunderstood the concept. The concept of working with cartoons. Okay.
No, Brendan Fraser is like right up there with Bob Hoskins, I think, in terms of the Hall of Fame of acting off of nothing.
Oh yeah, working off of nothing.
He's incredible at it.
As opposed to like, you know, someone like the Looney Tunes New Legacy.
LeBron is not that good at it.
Not that good at it.
But you watch Looney Tunes Back in Action. He's incredible at it. Whenever he's holding Daffy, you know exactly where Daffy is and what Daffy's doing.
So you think he's better in one of the Looney Tunes than he is in Space Jam? Sorry, I had the wrong thing.
I'm saying Brendan Fraser.
Oh, Brendan Fraser. I was like
his Looney Tunes.
Oh, I was like, what's going on? Okay,
I'm sorry.
Two different people in Looney Tunes.
Brendan Fraser did his Looney Tunes movie.
Right.
And 20 years in advance schooled LeBron.
I mean, I feel like that thing with LeBron was such it was so bad. I was like, I feel like I could act against nothing better than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've tried to make sense of what went wrong in that movie, and I don't totally get it.
I just paused the movie at every single frame and just of the big fight scene at the end, the big basketball thing, and I was like, why?
The basketball scene that takes up like an hour and 20 minutes.
And, yeah, but you have all these IPs and you've talked about them. You've mentioned Harry Potter a bunch of times. Why is Russell's the anger there? Like, why is that there?
I will say a thing I heard. And
the Devils, sorry.
A thing I heard, and I will not cite my source on this. There's the Back to the Future 2 lawsuit that was infamous, where Crispin Glover turned down Back to the Future Part 2, and then they wanted to put George McFly in the movie. So they hire a different actor to play old George McFly. They hang him upside down. They put him in old age makeup for the future scenes. And then for when they go back to the 50s, they reuse footage. Right? And Crispin Glover sued and made a ton of money because he argued they did not have his likeness rights for another film that he had never signed up for.
Gotcha.
And it was twofold. He won two different arguments, essentially, which is, you did not negotiate to be able to reuse footage from one movie for another movie. You owe me for that. And two, you hired an actor to do an impression of me and then put makeup on him to make him look like me. That is my likeness. You sculpted it after me.
Oh my God, Clever Like a Fox.
Clever Like a Fox. That's probably still his main nut that he lives off of to this day. Is the Back to the Future lawsuit.
That and Airbnbs, because I actually stayed at his Airbnb once. Yeah.
I have questions about that.
Okay, I've got answers.
What just happened?
Oh, someone's going to donate money, so then we're going to pause.
So cool to see a show where the host and guest are in the same room.
Yeah.
I nearly forgot what that looked like.
Me too.
Griffin, looking forward to being in attendance for your match in NY.
Me too.
Do you anticipate cheers or boos from the crowd?
Great question.
I have no idea. I haven't done one of these live before. I don't know. I guess the reputation is that Bin Stock Exchange is supposed to be a team of heels.
Yeah, and what's the team is he on?
He
on
is
Voice Team
on...
Guys?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So they're the good guy. They're the face
Right.
and you're the heels. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So anticipate the booze,
But
I guess.
I don't feel like I play heel.
No, you don't play heel. The post interviews with Jen Sturger are very funny.
I try to go big on those, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's this whole aspect of Schmodown that's like, let's make this as like wrestly as possible.
Yeah.
But in a very literal sense of like wrestling people yell at each other and get this angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more into just like theatrics and personalities. I think you are as well.
Yes.
You're not trying to like antagonize
Huge
people. You're just trying to do your own thing and
Loving
play
the
the
big
game.
podcast
Yes.
John
Sorry.
Carpenter series so far.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't gotten to new Christine episode yet. What is Videodrew's favorite Carpenter?
Oh, that would definitely be In the Mouth of Madness.
Haven't seen it yet.
I
Excited
think
to watch it.
That is that's Carpenter, right, guys?
Yeah.
That one's crazy. That one has
Excited to
Sam
watch
Neill. It has a very famous scene. I just like it because the concept is very
Yes.
cool. It's like a Lovecraftian concept of a writer creating his own
I think
universe.
we're recording that this week. I think
Yeah.
we're finally watching it this week.
I
Yeah.
want to say The Thing and I want to say Halloween, but both of them are basically just like, especially Halloween, is just like an indie movie that did super well, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I do like how he's like friends with David, Cronenberg. He's like a Cronenberg fan.
Well, he and Cronenberg had like a falling out.
Okay, well they were
I've been digging
friends.
into this. Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks Cronenberg's like big time Tim. That now that
What?
Cronenberg has become a little more like prestige, sophisticated art house.
Wait, what?
That Cronenberg is embarrassed of his horror roots, and he told a story I heard where he went to some like dinner, like all the horror guys of that generation used to get dinners together a couple times
They
a
were
year.
like friends. He had named the character Cronenberg in Escape from LA.
And apparently Cronenberg kind of like
Well, but when did
gave him the hi hat.
When did Cronenberg decide that he was too good for horror? That was like in the mid-aughts. Like that was like Eastern
Yes.
Promises and the History
Correct.
of Violence. Before that,
That's when the falling out apparently happened.
Oh,
And
okay.
they haven't been on good terms since then.
That's
what I heard.
I feel like that's embarrassing for Cronenberg.
I
If you're
agree.
pretending, if like you're David Cronenberg and you're pretending like you aren't famous for The Fly or
Right.
like Existence or
And like you can still be proud of the movies you're making today and
Yeah.
the filmmaker you've evolved into, but it feels very disingenuous to disown
yeah,
great films you made. It's also not like they're like
they're not.
trashy.
Carpenter films are like not notoriously they're more actiony. I think even than
Yes.
Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, Cronenberg is disgusting. He's always been more art house, but like
Yeah.
Naked Lunch, like those movies are.
Yeah.
When I think David Cronenberg, I think like gross body horror way more than I do when I think of Carpenter.
I think I don't know.
Oh, somebody else is saying I joined Blank Jake Patreon after watching Griffin's conversation with Harloff on the Big Thing show on Friday.
Wow, that's a nice conversion. Actually, I like that you spelled Czech the European way.
The European.
I appreciate that.
My favorite Cronenberg is Dead Ringers. That's mine too. That's actually absolutely my favorite one. Is Dead Ringers. Jeremy Irons playing twins against. It's a real life story.
Yeah, no. I know it is. I'm trying to do the math in my head of what my favorite is. I think it's Videodrew.
I think Videodrew is like very
I think
solid.
that's my favorite. I love Cronenberg.
I think it's like a very like it's A+ concept of Videodrome. It's just like kind of the execution gets a little bit messy for me. And Existence, funnily enough, like Existence is just kind of a remake of Videodrome, but like for the VR
video game. Yeah.
And I feel like he actually was ahead. I just rewatched it recently. He's like a little bit ahead of like the culture on that. Like
Absolutely.
He had the alternate reality games, the ARG movement down.
Yeah.
Before we get much further though, we just kind of started in the middle. I don't think I even introduced you. This is Griffin Newman.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Live in the Dark, guys. Streamlabs are open. Streamlab.com/Videodrew. History Violence is good, guys.
Great movie.
Somebody's asking, is that a Super Yaki shirt?
It is. Super Yaki. They're a great company. They make movie t-shirts.
Josie
and the Pussycats is the best movie ever joined the army.
Is this the one by the guys who did like The Mummy is the best movie?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They do a lot of Brendan Fraser stuff. So if you enjoyed our Fraser talk, that's a rabbit hole you can go down.
That's hilarious. So you came on here just hot for Brendan Fraser, like hot to talk about Brendan Fraser, but then the shirt is just one of their other shirts, not the famous Brendan Fraser shirt.
Correct.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm Blank Check because we have a Patreon and then our main feed. And the Patreon we do franchises, the main feed we do directors.
Mm-hmm.
And so main feed we're doing Carpenter now, and then Patreon we're doing Mummy. So those are like the two headspaces I'm in are Carpenter and Fraser.
So wait,
they're at the tip of my mind.
Somebody's asking, the Dead Zone is my favorite Cronenberg. Was Dead Zone Cronenberg? Oh yeah, it was
Dead Zone
Cronenberg.
is Cronenberg.
It's just like not. It's a very Carpenter Cronenberg film.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it also, you think of it as more of a King movie than a Cronenberg movie. But
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I like how you say correct because it makes me feel like I'm getting things like right in the conversation. But no, I'm not calling out. I really do like it.
I'm glad you actually like it.
Like I'm like smiling really hard because I'm like I am being corrected something. Like
it's some weird verbal tick of mine. I always wonder if it comes off as.
No, I want to like steal it.
Good, then use it. Yeah.
I want to do it because it really places it. It frames you in position of authority, but B, like makes me feel like I'm impressing somebody. So.
I think that's what I'm self-conscious about is that it comes off as me trying to put myself in a position of authority, which I'm not trying to do.
I mean, because we're talking about opinions and stuff.
Sure.
So I feel like it's good. Somebody saying I have the tie-dye version of that shirt Griffin is wearing.
Yeah.
I could just say correct.
Correct.
That's true.
Correct.
I'm just saying correct to the thing that you said that's true. So guys, somebody saying, do you agree with me that Jennifer Gardner's role in Draft Day would have been much more?
Peggy, you gotta finish this sentence.
You gotta get the whole sentence, Peggy.
I'll give you my opinion, but I need to know the rest of the question.
Jennifer Gardner's role in Draft Day. Peggy loves sports, so I mean and I know you were in Draft Day.
I was in Draft Day. That's just about my full knowledge of sports is being in that movie.
Oh, any opinions about Brandon Cronenberg and Possessor? Yeah, I have a ton of opinions about Possessor. It is so cool to be like, I'm gonna like be what like it's kind of like Joe Hill and Stephen King, where it's like I'm gonna do what my dad does, and instead of like trying to distinguish like between like the styles, no, I'm just gonna go what my dad did, and then like go harder. Or,
Family business. It's like I take over the auto parts repair shop,
and he like used, so much of it is like visual references to other movies of Cronenberg's, and I was like, oh, he's not. It's like Kendall Roy, like he's just straight up like trying to take them.
It's interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Someone else is saying, I'm trying to see if Peggy's.
Yeah, I'm curious. The rest of the Peggy question.
Peggy, come back here.
Peggy.
Somebody saying verbal tick. I see what you did there.
Not intentional. I apologize.
But, someone said Cronenberg. Let's get started with our news of the day. And then Peggy, if you want, you can send it to Streamlabs and we'll make sure to flag it. Guys, that's the best way to get your stuff read because this is a little bit. I'm like, this is, as you can tell, it's a new setup. I'm no longer in the Black Lodge, and this is a pretty cool room.
Brightly lit lodge.
That is. Yeah. Oh, let's see. You need to watch Twin Peaks.
I need to watch Twin. I was with great embarrassment confessing to Drew that I've never watched Twin Peaks before. But I was saying in my defense that there are many sort of canonical shows that I've not watched. I've not watched most of what are continued to be the greatest TV shows of all time.
I was working at the New York Observer for 6 years. No big deal. Not trying to brag.
Big brag.
Huge brag. But I was the arts and entertainment editor, and I started with Vinny Mancuso, who's part of the Schmodown, and we started a TV vertical, like TV download. Yeah. And it was mostly focused on like TV. But I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna have to like admit that I've never seen The Wire. Sure. I've never seen Sopranos. Sure. So I went through and I started watching them. And most of them, I was like, this is a slog. Because as I was telling you before, the shows that we know today and we love today are based on the backs of these great this great TV. But TV just, by its nature, was a different beast. Like, it was like you had to do 24 episodes a season, and like it was all different. And like, it's really hard to find accessible because it dates itself really fast. Yeah. So I found it really hard. Like, at The Wire, I kind of got into. The Sopranos, I still have never gotten that into.
I have a pretty wide tolerance for any type of movie. And I think I maybe have slight commitment issues when it comes to TV shows and embarking on them. But I also disproportionately watch comedy television. Really? Whereas with movies, I don't think I have there are things I like, but I pretty much will go see or watch anything. With TV, it's like, it's such a comfort food thing for me.
That you want to watch.
I rarely want to watch challenging TV, even if I know I will love it.
I feel I'm both the same and opposite in the sense that I don't want to watch like Mayor of Easttown or something I know is going to be a bummer show. Right. But movies I even have a harder time with. Like if it's not the genre of movie I like, it's like horror or comedy. Yeah. It's a really hard sell to get me to watch something. I
kind of watch almost any type of movie, and TV it's a bigger buy-in for me. I think.
Yeah. Have you been watching? I Think You Should Leave.
Of course, I've seen these every episode 87 times. When I walked in here, it was just playing on the. Yes.
Yeah, well, this week I made up. I decided the best mashup would be Succession / I Think You Should Leave, Instagram and Twitter. That's what I'm devoting all my time to because it is maybe just the best show to ever just have the quotes out of context. Yes. With different screen grabs.
I mean, I went out with friends last night and we were just trading quotes. It is. So good. Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's the best.
Okay, guys, we're gonna get started on the news here.
News.
Anthony Mackie has signed on for the lead role of John Doe. Okay. In 7 in the Twisted Metal live action series at Sony Pictures TV. Oh, that's cool. The The plot is John Doe has to deliver a package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Oh, so it's not the same guy from Seven.
No, I don't think so.
Different John Doe.
I don't remember.
Isn't being in heavy metal?
Well, no, I remember what the vehicles look like in Twisted Metal. I don't remember character. I guess there was like an evil clown guy or something.
Wait. I think I'm getting Twisted Metal confused for heavy metal. I thought, is it a comic book?
Okay, Heavy Metal's the comic book.
Okay.
That's what you're thinking of. Twisted Metal was a racing game, but it was like very extreme.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up a picture and see
Yeah,
if I can find
and
it.
there was like a flaming clown head on a car. I want to say it was like the main image of it.
It's like Mad Max.
It was sort of Mad Maxy, but like a little bit like.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's just an angry clown dude. Okay.
Right, but like that's the guy I remember as being the iconography of the thing. I'm like, who?
Oh, is that Anthony Mackie?
Well, no, that's my question. Who is John Doe?
It's John. I think it might be the Twisted Clown thingy, right?
Can you search
Yeah.
Twisted Metal John Doe? I'm curious.
Yeah, we'll search it right now. Twisted Metal John Doe.
I'll also say, have you ever seen the Paul W.S. Anderson Death Race remake?
No, I have not.
I'm a big defender of that movie. I think that movie's a lot of fun.
I haven't seen the original.
I think that movie is kind of a...
Oh, he's playing the clown. He's playing the fucking clown. That's crazy. But like, great. Sure, like fine. Yeah, I believe it.
As well.
This is another Cole Young situation as NerdChronic.
My argument is that the Paul W.S. Anderson Death Race movie is less of a Death Race remake than it is a Twisted Metal movie.
Okay.
So the idea of a new Twisted Metal thing to me feels a little unnecessary. I've seen the version of it I like, but I don't know. I like Anthony Mackie. Whatever.
I mean, like that's cool. I'm so out of my depth. This one I haven't seen the original. I haven't seen the remakes. I don't know what this game is, but it's cool that he's playing a scary clown, and I think, he's already our Captain America.
Sure.
So Captain America playing a scary clown is like akin. If we thought it was weird that Chris Evans was playing like the bad guy in Knives Out, spoiler alert from Knives Out.
Spoiler 3 years ago.
Huge spoiler for Knives Out. Then I think that like Anthony Mackie should be allowed to be both Captain America and a scary clown dude delivering a package.
Yeah.
Across post-apocalyptic America.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
So is this? It's not related to Mad Max, but it just happens to be like the Postman. The Postman meets Mad Max.
Yes, I don't remember the package delivery being part of the game, but I don't have very vivid memories of this game. I just remember being a racing game, and it was like, this is Mario Kart. Everything's on fire and twisted steel, and everyone looks like a psychopath. This package delivery thing might be a new angle.
Have you played Mario Kart? People look like giant lizards, and like everything's on fire.
Very metal.
Very metal. Have you seen? No, I've only
Metal Mario, the most metal.
The most Mario. Wario, also pretty metal.
Yep.
Only when Elon Musk is playing him. Have you ever seen the one movie that I know is based off of a heavy metal comic, which is Blueberry, I think it's called, with Vincent Cassel, and it's it's a psychedelic western.
Okay.
Eddie Izzard.
Okay.
Vincent Cassel.
When is this from?
Let me see. Blueberry's I think it was a French western.
Because I've seen the heavy metal movies, like the animated heavy metal.
No, this one is not animated.
This is an adaptation of a specific.
That's just pictures of blueberries. Lab blueberry. There we go. It is.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's real. It's real weird. If I remember, they all just like take a bunch of drugs and kind of like Dead Man-y, but then also like an adventure movie.
This is brand new to me. I did not know this movie existed.
Yeah. So I just remember I don't remember much from it. Vincent Cassel. There we go. Eddie Izzard. Weird. Weird movies, guys.
Wow.
My dad's really into weird shit, and so he's the one who showed me that. A live action remake of Metalocalypse would be cool. I mean, tell it to Hollywood. I mean, maybe that's you with Griffin, but like tell it to Hollywood.
I'm not Hollywood. I assure you, I am not Mr. Hollywood.
No, that's guy from British Bake Off.
Yes, that's Paul Hollywood.
That's Paul Hollywood.
He is Mr. Hollywood.
Mr. Hollywood to his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go to the next one of these.
Okay.
David Carradine was in that movie. Okay. Keegan-Michael Key has been cast in Wonka. A musical based on the early life of Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. He will star alongside Timothée Chalamet, who has been cast as Wonka. Key's role is being kept under wraps. There's not many characters he could be because we don't know that much about Wonka's freaking backstory.
So my brain immediately goes to Slugsworth.
Slugsworth or an Oompa Loompa, but that can't be right.
Can't be an Oompa Loompa.
Can't be.
That'd
be very offensive.
Yes, I'm very curious about this movie. I mean, I'll say this because I think people every time this movie gets mentioned, people go like, "Ugh."
Wait, really?
Hollywood prequel. Why are you doing this? Paul King is directing it.
Who's that?
Who did the Paddington movies.
Oh, we love him.
Which everyone loves. And he did the Mighty Boosh TV show, which is one of my favorite shows ever.
Wait, he did Mighty Boosh?
He directed all Mighty Boosh.
Wow.
And then he did a movie called The Bull and the Bear or something like that. That's okay, not great.
Okay.
And then he did the Paddington movies, which everyone loves, and they solved
Mighty Boosh,
world hunger.
Yeah, it was #1 film after Citizen King got knocked down a peg.
It's definitively the best movie ever made. My frustration with the Wonka movie is more than anything that it is seemingly keeping him from making Paddington 3, which they're now saying they're going to make without him, which means I'm not really interested.
Okay.
He had signed up to do Pinocchio for Disney.
Okay.
And then they were like, well, we can't wait for him. Paddington 3, we're going to do it without you.
Was live action Pinocchio?
Yes.
Like literally, like in that episode of Barry, like live action Pinocchio?
Robert Zemeckis is now doing it.
Oh, that's worse. Don't do that.
So, then it was like, oh, he dropped out of Pinocchio. He could go back to Paddington. They never hired someone else for Paddington. And then he signed it for Wonka instead. So the only thing that gives me some hope for Wonka is that it's him doing it.
Well, Chalamet's good. Chalamet's great.
But I dislike that he's doing this instead of Paddington.
I
close out the trilogy.
I think that's fair. Maybe it sounds like maybe he just didn't want to do the third one. He didn't get the money.
Maybe.
Or
Want a break? I don't know.
I have not seen it. I've not seen either Paddington. I've started watching. Yeah, I know, right?
Good movies.
I know about Paddington too. I've watched scenes from it. Hugh Grant looks delightful in it.
Wonderful in it. Yeah.
The only thing you could tell me that would make me like that more is if it was literally just Jesse Armstrong and like the Peep Show guys making a children's movie. And then I'd watch the shit out of it.
I mean, it's close to this. I don't know. Yeah.
Or like Matt Berry was like directing a kids movie, or like the Garth Marenghi Dark Place people.
I think Simon Rich wrote the Wonka movie.
Wait, really?
I believe so.
Oh, he's great.
Yes. So there are reasons to think this might be good.
An American Pickle, everyone. Or if you read the New Yorker, all of that.
Everything.
Everything.
50% of any issue of the New Yorker.
Any Shouts and Murmurs is just Simon Rich talking. Let's see. Peggy's got the question here. Okay, now
I have a keyboard. Okay.
Griffin Newman, FWIW. I adore Draft Day. You slayed your role. I've had a few adult beverages today, so I don't remember what I was getting at earlier. Okay.
This is going to bug me forever. So Peggy forgets the question she started asking and couldn't finish typing.
So Jennifer Garner in Draft Day, do you think it would have been better if?
It was just I. We didn't even get an if out there.
Yeah, do you think it would be better
Maybe.
Yeah, now he's really curious.
My answer is maybe.
And then Jeff is saying it's Draft Day. Griffin Newman. Is this like a thing you get a lot when you get recognized? People say Draft Day.
To a surprising degree.
I should have seen Draft Day before
we came
on tonight.
That movie flopped pretty hard when it came out, and I think there were very high expectations for it. It did not.
Okay.
It did not, and it's also the kind of movie that was designed only to ever be released in America.
Oh no!
So it came out here and underperformed, and they were like, "Well, we're not even going to bother putting it in other countries." But then it very quickly.
If Griffin had a role in the Wonka movie, what would he want?
I mean, the prequel, or I would say sequel to the Wonka movie. You could play Grown Up Mike TV or something.
Yeah, I would. That would be my answer. I would be a Grown Up Mike TV.
I'd like that. I could see that.
There's an SNL sketch I love from when Al Gore hosted SNL. Weird cultural artifact. Al Gore hosted SNL after the 2000 election. He did a sketch where he was I think he was Wilbur Wonka.
Oh no.
He was Willy Wonka's brother who managed the finances of the company. And it was just Al Gore, very dry, wooden, not a performer, in a ridiculous coat being like, "Have you looked at our chocolate bills recently? These are out of control."
It's a really good Al Gore.
It was a good sketch. Thank you.
It's because his daughter's a comedy writer, right? Because that's why
she wrote for Futurama for a long time. But that's right. I think that's what I think of as I'd like to be someone who's in the front office of the Wonka factory dealing with Willy's bullshit.
I mean, I've often thought, we were talking about this the other day, NerdChronic, about doing something that was sort of a version of I think you should leave, or a sketch, it's cringe sketch comedy, but in that world, I guess we're just thinking Robot Chicken, but that's in the world of identifiable IPs. So it's just it's all that kind of stuff of Lucian from Harry Potter. Not Lucian. What's the dad?
Lucius.
No, yeah,
right?
Lucius, the bad guy.
Yes.
That he's like racist, but like Voldemort isn't because he's like, I hate the blacks. And like everyone's like, whoa, that's not cool. He's like, no, like the family, like the
Sirius Black. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all messed up, and they're like, that dude, no, cool. But Willy Wonka is the one that's ripe for the imagining there because
that's one of those. I feel like Willy Wonka and Wizard of Oz and maybe like 2 other movies will never run out of parody sketch takes on.
Yeah, there was even one that I think I've come up with before, and SNL didn't do it better than I did, which is Grandpa Joe jumping out of bed. I mean, like, we won, and it's like, yo, we motherfucker, like, I've been working after school. This whole family has been moving around the table, and you can walk.
That's a weird. SNL's done 2 different Grandpa Joe sketches in the last, 2 years.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they did that one, and there was another one.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen it. Pete Davidson, and then there was
Pete Davidson plays Grandpa Joe. Every other cast member is different between the 2 sketches, but Pete Davidson has played Grandpa Joe twice.
Which isn't what you think that the Pete Davidson thing is for.
And
I just had a thing for it.
I think they maybe took the 2 jokes you just made and split them into 2 different sketches.
You're right.
I think one of them was, whoa, you can walk, and the other one was, what do you mean I won? Yeah. But they were 2 very similar.
NerdChronic, you can help us out. We literally had the same thing. So I was like, I wanted to show you the thing. But the second one was like, it's like the we. Like, you didn't get it.
I think one was the we and one was the...
Well, one of them was also like about the other
I don't really have a message. I love you. Here's some money.
Oh, thank you, Bert.
That's very nice.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got another thing in the back.
What happens when you get to 100%?
Then I do a little dance.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so Peggy's saying, that means I was bringing up the fact that the love interest was unnecessary. It would have been better if Jennifer was simply a smart and savvy exec in charge of the captain? Cap team?
The cap.
The cap?
This is a term that's used in the movie, and I don't know what it means.
What does it mean?
I don't know what it means.
Who do you play in the movie?
So I play Rick the intern.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Thank you. It's like the whole movie takes place on the draft day, when everything's going wrong.
Oh.
And his usual assistant, it's the most high-pressure day.
It's like time code.
This guy's the general. It's exactly like time code. Exactly like time code.
Wonderful.
This guy's the general manager. He's really stressed out. Everything's going wrong. He shows up at work, and his assistant is out sick because she has mono, and they put some intern he's never met before in his desk.
Okay.
And I am easily befuddled and overwhelmed.
Okay.
And I mess up a lot of things, and then we bond. But that's my part of the movie. But then Jennifer Garner's character is, I forget what her position is, but she's some exec for the team, and
cap is the limit you can pay the players.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And she is they've been secretly dating for a while. And at the beginning of the movie, she finds out that she's pregnant.
Oh no.
So it's like all the stuff stacking up on top of itself.
Yeah, and so she's not the main character. It's not her story. It's just
story.
That's just another thing that's happening to him that day.
Correct.
Okay.
Now here's my 2-pronged response to what Peggy said.
Okay, we got you, Peggy.
I like the relationship plotline in that movie.
Okay.
A thing that bugs me is, in general, the lack of films with platonic male-female relationships.
Yes, I agree.
I feel like almost always female characters exist only to be love interest to men.
Yeah.
What I would maybe prefer is if Draft Day had 2.
Yeah. Like a lesbian and Jennifer.
Well, right. Don't look. It's like he can just have a coworker who he gets along with very well and does not have sexual tension with. You know, I would like to see a woman in the office in that movie who does her job well and doesn't have to be defined by her relationship to him.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't have a problem with the Jennifer Garner relationship in that movie. It's just that's the only thing. I mean, it's like her, his mom, his ex-wife.
Yeah.
From my memory, pretty much the only 3 female characters.
It's a problem with a lot of movies. I was just writing a script for Martin's videos about different horror movie things, and that's the hardest. I mean, it is real hard. You have to get a movie that was written for a man, like Alien, it was Dan O'Brien or Dan O'Bannon. I think he wrote it to be a dude character, and that's why her character just doesn't seem to have any sexual tension or love interest in the first Alien, because she's supposed to be he, and it works so well. And if we could just do that more often.
I saw people complain about this, but I really like the fact that Shang-Chi, it is not a romantic relationship, and they're just kind of friends.
I haven't seen it yet.
They're just sort of friends.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like
it's not a spoiler. They're just friends. Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. April O'Neil never really technically got with them.
That's true. I guess in the first live action movie, she's got
like a thing
with Casey.
Oh, with Casey.
I feel like sometimes they have her pair up with Casey, but you're right. That is different because it's like the main characters are the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
They never cross that interspecies boundary.
No, she draws
April
pictures of
is
them.
a platonic female friend. I do like that.
I think it's if I can make a trope generalization, I think it's when you get female reporters, they can generally be more of platonic relationships.
Here's to friends being in the same room.
Yay!
You both rock.
Thanks, Marzona. It's Alex Marzona. I think the great. He's a great Alex Marzona. Griffin, have you acquired any steelbacks? What steelbacks? Where's steelbacks?
Steelbooks.
Oh, steelbooks.
For Blu-rays.
Oh, that you're excited about. Love you.
Yeah.
Lots. Keeping great. Steel. Oh, you mean like the ones that are like hard metal?
Way into them. Into them. Converted David Sims, my podcast host, into them as well. So I'm out here because I was doing the PowerCon, which is the He-Man convention, out in Anaheim last weekend.
Yes.
And I put a couple steelbooks on pre-order that only came into stock at Best Buy once I had flown out here. And I was like, I'm going to be out here for like 2 weeks. How long will they hold them at Best Buy? So I had my pre-orders transferred to a Best Buy in Anaheim and picked them up, and I've carried them with it. So I have...
Wait, really? This is like the time I brought all my crystals to LA and decided to carry them around.
Yeah, I just have the 2 new Hitchcock, Psycho... No, not Psycho. It's Vertigo and Rear Window.
Okay.
I got those 2 steelbooks, and then when I get back to New York, hopefully I have Carpenter's The Thing waiting for me.
Oh, we have a game of The Thing that's like Outpost 81. It's like it's
a board game?
Yeah, it's a board game. Sorry, I'm like trying to do this. Maxwell, I see your thing, but the thing is super chats don't go in that bar, the little barrier thing, so I just have to like do this really quick.
Maxwell, super chats don't go in that bar.
Super chats don't go in there. You've been here long enough.
The bar.
They don't go in the bar, Maxwell.
Super chats don't go in the bar.
You've been here long enough, Maxwell. Now I'm going to do math.
Super chat.
19 plus 65. 19. Okay, so 9 plus... You know what? Let's round it up.
So bad at math.
75,
okay.
85. Let's do that. We'll just do that.
Okay.
Thanks, Maxwell.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthew. So I want to talk about, I guess we can go to the next piece of news. I feel like this let's do the next piece of news. Sure. But I do want to talk about Search Party at some point.
Okay. Oh, happily. Yeah.
Because it turns out that I didn't know you were on that show, and then I rewatched it recently with NerdChronic, and he went, I went, do you recognize that person? He goes, no, who's that? And I go, do you recognize him from the Schmodown? And he goes, no idea who you're talking about. It was mind-blowing.
Transformation.
Yeah. Let's see.
I look exactly the same. Okay.
You totally do. You look like a different human being.
Well,
in person you look more like yourself, but over like the virtual screen.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I look a little different on that show. I think.
Like no, I mean like on virtually playing you in the Schmodown, you look different than you do.
I also was wearing stupid sunglasses in my hat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Haley Atwell has been cast as Laura Croft in Netflix's upcoming Tomb Raider anime series. The show will pick up after the events of Tomb Raider. I guess the events of the movie or the game.
This is the recent video game reboot, which the live action movies were based off of. Okay. But it sounds like this is a different continuity continuing
the events
those
of
games.
So saying the events of the Tomb Raider video game reboot trilogy. So this takes place afterwards. So the same continuum.
After the game.
Yeah.
But I think this looks like this now looks like a straw. Does it not?
Like
this line coming out of the cloud looks like I'm drinking a straw.
Yeah, it looks like you're drinking like the clouds. No. It's really good. It's like a spaghetti strand.
Yeah. Because I think they're also saying that they're going to make a Tomb Raider movie sequel to the Alicia Vikander movie.
Right, and they're doing the Uncharted one too.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing Uncharted with Tom.
But the Uncharted's a prequel.
Right, because it's going to be Tom Holland.
Right.
Yeah. And I forget who's playing. Mark Wahlberg, I think, is playing the.
Mark Wahlberg was supposed to do the Uncharted movie and play the lead, and then 3 years later, they're like, "Do you want to play the grandpa?" Which life comes at you fast.
I mean, first thing you know, you're stabbing out some like elderly Asian person's eye, and then you're just becoming Marky Mark. You know.
I've never really played the Tomb Raider games. I will say, I think the Angelina Jolie movies are bad. I think they're bad and boring. Yeah. And I was really amped for them when they came out. I
saw that movie in theater. I forgot. I just could not remember that Daniel Craig was the dude.
Bad and boring. And the Gerard Butler's the dude in the second one. They have like.
Oh no.
They both have love interests who then become huge movie stars right after.
Yeah. Right.
I like the Alicia Vikander movie. It's not perfect, but there are things in there I really like. It was like, oh, I would like to see more of these. This is a series. I like her in this role. All of that. Haley Atwell's pretty fucking good casting, though.
Who's really Haley Atwell?
Haley Atwell is Agent Carter.
Oh,
Marvel movies.
yeah.
I'm a big fan, and it now makes me wish that she had maybe done the live action movie to begin with.
But instead of Vikander?
Yeah, who I like a lot, and I like that film, but Haley Atwell feels like perfect casting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things. I mean, was she the voice in the What If series when they did?
Correct.
Okay, so
Yes.
like she can do it.
Correct again. Yeah.
No, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it, Griffin.
Okay.
I don't get that kind of reinforcement from like anything else.
Then I'll keep saying correct.
Okay, perfect. You two, says Ty Lieberman. Hey Ty.
Hey Ty.
He's the best.
Hey Ty.
Ty. I'm here to confirm what Drew was saying. Your character's look versus your look is very different.
Thank you.
I love that role so much for you.
A compliment.
I think it is a compliment because that character isn't supposed to be like likable. I don't think he's fascinating. Great character.
Yes.
Yeah. We're talking, by the way, about if you guys have seen Search Party, and if not, like literally, don't stop what you're doing because we're doing a show right now. But like afterwards, stop what you're doing, put on HBO Max, and watch Search Party. It is unlike any other television show.
I say this objectively because I'm a very, very small part of it. I just think it's a great show, and there's only a relatively small amount of me across it. I endorse the rest of it wholeheartedly.
I don't think there's another TV show that is like it because it is such a interesting genre. Like it is like it's a satire. Like it's a very funny like satire and like satirical look on these sort of millennial Oberlin grads, of which I am one. But at the same time, being a very serious, like intense, like missing person murder mystery kind of show. And your character he shows up for a couple episodes in season 1. It's so intense, and then by this season we're getting like Susan Sarandon's on the show, Jeff Goldblum.
Crazy people. Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum's joining the show. It's so awesome, and it was made by somebody I went to school with, Sarah Bliss.
Right, and then I went to high school with her.
That's right. Oh man, we know so many of the same people. It's weird.
We know a lot of people in common, which we put together.
Did you have Slaney Jenkins?
I know that name, and I'm not putting face to it.
Okay.
It sounds very familiar. For people who don't know, Search Party is about like a bunch of people who have stayed friends since college.
Mm-hmm.
They hear that a girl they knew at college but didn't really know that well has gone missing.
Yeah.
And they become obsessed with trying to like sort of, much like a lot of the modern trends of true crime, mystery podcasts, documentaries, like we're going to be able to solve this ourselves.
Well, it's mainly like if you took the characters of girls, but like but you made it clear that you, the artists, were like aware of the failings of the limitations rather.
They're very self-involved. Yes.
They're like not great people, but
narcissistic people.
But you're also
selfish,
but they're trying to do something.
They're compelling. Yeah.
They're compelling, and they're trying to do something that's bigger than them.
But they don't really know this girl, and they start acting like we gotta find her. But it's clearly so much about their own status and all of it.
Oh yeah, Alia Shawkat's whole thing about it.
They're so good. Yeah, and then I play the like serious ex-boyfriend of the missing girl, who they start investigating as a suspect.
You have a scene or an episode where you come over to somebody's house for dinner. It is, I almost had to leave the room. Like it is such such an intense scene, and it almost made me nervous to meet you in real life because I was like, he has that inside of him. That sort of like you have such this. You indemnify this sort of like toxic sort of guy who's not really, he's not really the quarterback in school or whatever.
No.
But like it's that like kind of nerd rage.
Yeah. He's a complicated dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew Charles and Sarah Violet, who are the writer, directors, creators of the thing, and then they had done. I was in their movie that they did.
It's a For Children?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Have you seen it?
Of course.
I'm the other guy at the beach that they don't want to hook up with.
Oh.
That movie's about two very self-involved people who get invited to a beach by a cute boy they like, and they both think the boy likes them, and they try to get to the beach, and then everything goes wrong. And I'm the other boy at the beach.
This is the thing I didn't understand.
Who takes acid and is convinced that one of them's in love with him.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Sarah Violet in college, you could have told me like 100 times out of 100 that Lena was going to go on and do great things. Mm-hmm. Ben Sinclair, who's done the show High Maintenance, was going to go on and do this.
Yeah.
You could have told me in a million years Sarah Violet was going to write something this scathing. Like that she had something that was inside of her that was just like a true scathing commentary.
I mean, Charles is like that too, where they're both very sweet people.
Yeah.
I mean, they have very kind of cutting senses of humor, but they don't seem like it. They're very kind people.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons their things turn out well is they run really good sets and they're really supportive of people, and it's a very healthy environment they create on like almost all sets.
Yeah.
But I did their movie, and then they were like, we wrote this thing, we want to do it on Search Party when the show had gotten picked up, and I didn't know what it was, and I read it, and I was like, this is exactly the kind of part I would like to play, and no one would ever cast me to do this other than that.
Really?
You know?
I feel like it's not that. These characters are just kind of now emerging because like the archetypes of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this was 5 years ago, but
Jesus
I just felt
Christ,
like
it has been, yeah.
Yeah, and that part is like, as you said, it's sort of this one episode that's like a bottle episode. It's like a one-act play that's like,
and it's
this
so
couple
tense.
and their friend invite this guy they don't really know over for dinner because they think he might be a murderer.
Yeah, and he's got like all we know about him is he's got intense rage issues. That's
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. I mean, my whole thing was I always just sort of like imagined he is undiagnosed, unmedicated, issues that need to be worked on, and just has no sort of emotional modulation.
Yeah. But what I loved about him
control.
is that he's not dumb. They never play him as stupid or like unaware. Like he's picking up that there's something weird about this, and he's all those scenes that are like sort of comedy of error things, or like things that could have been played as like. And then these like the boss comes over for dinner, and this all happens. Like he's like not stupid, and so he's just like, what the fuck is that? He's just on the level.
This was all how they wrote it, but like it is a big pet peeve of mine when characters are just kind of irrationally dumb, especially in comedies where you're just like, that doesn't happen. The person leaves at that moment.
Yeah,
they ask
exactly.
me the question. No one's like that easily duped.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to, as an actor, do something like that where, for me, I felt like the fun thing to play was, in every scene, playing with the tension of, is he suspicious?
Yeah.
Is he on the level?
Yeah.
Making him sort of hard to read.
Yeah.
So he was never dumb, but you couldn't tell, like, is he about to blow up?
Yeah.
Is he about to break down crying?
Yeah.
Is this a joke for him?
It's like,
the guy's so kind of out of whack.
It is like a Tim Robinson character, but like played as if it was like deadly serious. Like this guy could just straight up murder somebody, and you have like a meltdown at the end of the episode, and it's amazing. It is so convincing, believable.
Thank you.
So good job with that.
Thank you. It was also fun to do because it's like most movie TV stuff you do is so segmented and broken up into pieces, and you're doing scenes and coverage or whatever, and that's like 22 pages that pretty much all take place in one room with very few exceptions. We were able to shoot the whole thing in order, pretty much. It was more like theater. And when things are in order like that, you can sort of take more risks because you don't have to tie yourself into knots with the continuity of what did we shoot 2 days ago and what are we shooting a week from now.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty much just 2 nights overnight shooting the whole thing. And it was great. It was incredible.
Guys, so again, if you haven't seen Search Party, please go see it. Please go see it. The most recent season, it's like every season they just keep ratcheting up another level that you're like, oh my god.
The 5th season, I will not spoil anything, but when you see what they're doing in the 5th season, it is wild. But
it's sort of like the Malignant of TV shows, which is like, where it's just like every season it's just out.
It just gets worse and worse
I'm not even a big football fan, but I really enjoy Draft Day for some reason. Griffin's perfect as Rick in that, and as Arthur in The Tick.
Thank you.
I always liked both of the old series and loved the new one, Rip. Looking forward to Schmodown Brooklyn.
R.I.P.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Schmodown Brooklyn too. Yeah.
My dad, when I was trying to say like who I was playing next to Schmodown to get him engaged in my life and what I do, I had
constant battle. Yep.
You would think because he loves movies and he's like a weirdo that he would just be into this automatically, but no, it really had to come down to me being like, okay, so it's you watch The Tick, Dad. You love The Tick, so it's.
He's a Tick fan.
Yeah, he's
That's
a huge
cool.
Tick fan. So he actually watched that episode.
Yeah.
And he was mad at me about those Stephen King questions, but you know what? Like, I'm sure he didn't know A Good Marriage either.
Sure.
So
that one was really tough.
That was super
tough.
tough.
We both bombed that. That was
I mean, I was very proud of myself. I'm just on a personal level. I've never gotten a perfect third round before. I usually fall apart in the third round. So the fact that I was able to nail all those in the categories that I'm not really good at was like that was a win for me.
Yeah.
But it was fun. What I guess this is the interview portion of the show now, but this whole thing's been like an interview.
Yeah.
But how'd you get involved with the Schmodown in particular?
It was Alex Marzona. That was Well, okay. So when we were promoting season 2 of The Tick, which would have been 2019, 2019 we were promoting season 2 of The Tick, and Peter Serafinowicz, who played The Tick, and I went on Collider Live.
Okay.
When it was Christian and Roxy, maybe a third person, I'm forgetting.
Yeah, probably Roca.
I don't think think it was, but maybe I'm wrong and I'll be deeply embarrassed. I'm pretty certain it was not Roka and he's my teammate, and I feel like I would remember.
It's not Ella, it's not Roka.
You know what? It might have only been Christian and Roxy. That's all I remember distinctly. Someone go back and check the tape.
Yeah.
But we did that, and Alex was...
It was Mark Riley.
It was Mark Riley? It was Mark Riley. The answer
Fair
is...
enough.
It was Mark Riley.
Yeah. Correct.
Alex was working at Collider with Christian, everybody.
So was I.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, during that period of time, yeah.
He knew we were coming to the office. He messaged me on Twitter and was like, hey, I'm a big Blanky. He was a fan of my podcast, Blank Check. And was like, we're coming in. Would you want to do Schmodown? We do this trivia thing. Because he knew my podcast, the origins of it are all from trivia.
Really?
David Sims and I, film critic for The Atlantic, host of Blank Check, we became friends through movie trivia.
In New York?
Mm-hmm. Did you ever go to Videology Trivia?
Of course. That's my friend Pilot used to run that.
Okay, so Pilot was connected David and I as friends.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I tried to get Pilot involved.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting this a little bit wrong. So, David and I had a mutual friend named Melissa Stonoa, who has the show Three Busy Deborahs on Adult Swim.
That sounds good.
But at this point, none of us had any TV shows nor any podcasts. She noticed us tweeting similar things.
Melissa did, yeah.
Alyssa.
Alyssa, sorry.
And was like, you guys should be friends. Are you not friends? So then we slid into each other's DMs and we're like, want to go see a movie. We went and saw a movie. We had a nice time. We got drinks. It's one of those things where you're like, I might never see this person again.
Like it's a nice bro meeting.
Right. And a couple months later, he reached out to me. I was going through some bad career stuff, and he like sent me condolences and then was like, you're back in the city. We should get drinks again. So we went, saw another movie, got drinks.
What movies were these? You gonna ask?
Absolutely. First movie we saw together, our first date, was Stories We Tell, the Sarah Polley documentary.
Oh my God. The one about Alzheimer's?
No, that's not Away From Her. What's that movie called?
I don't know.
It's called Away From Her?
But that's not a documentary. This one's not a documentary.
Right.
Okay.
This is a documentary she made about trying to figure out who her father was, her parentage.
Ooh, Sarah Polley's career is so interesting.
Big fan. So we saw that, and then months later, we saw The Bling Ring.
Wow. That's a good one.
Day.
That's a good way to like balance out whether you guys will. First of all, they're both very artsy movies.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay,
we're very artsy.
So you guys see them in like Avenue?
We saw both of them at Angelica. It was 2 Angelica dates, a couple months apart. We're going out for drinks. Then he gets a text from Pilot.
Yeah.
Pilot says, I'm at movie trivia and we're bombing. Do you want to come? Be like a ringer. And he goes, do you want to go to movie trivia? My second time hanging out with this guy.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, I kind of like trivia.
This is a meet cute.
It's absolutely meet cute. So we get in a cab. We go to Videology in Brooklyn. We get there. And Pilot's like, you guys want to look at the sheet? And David and I like hyper focus in on it. And I had gotten fired off of a big job.
Okay. And
David had gotten out of a relationship. And we both were in that sort of void moment where we're like, I need a new thing to obsess over.
Yeah.
So we just like we jumped in. We started like the team started doing a little better, and then we were like, Pilot, can we start coming back every week? Can we be part of the team every week?
Jeez.
Very quickly, I think like 2 weeks later, Pilot was like, you guys are intense. Have fun with this.
Oh, Pilot like just straight up left the program.
Yeah, you guys could take over. So we took over the team and then started curating a new team around it. But like our entire structure of our friendship was this trivia night once a week, which we became obsessed with.
Oh my God.
And that we
were you guys killers in it? I mean,
we became killers.
Yeah,
we became killers. It took a little while to work up, but then we became killers. And we stopped doing it because we were like, oh, we've become the assholes now.
Yeah, you guys are okay.
We went from being the underdogs
to
then people being happy that we were winning because it was like, those guys really they worked hard.
Yeah.
And then it was just like we were Camp Mohawk. You know, we were the assholes.
You were the ski team from the popular school.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then we stopped hanging out. We're like, we need a new excuse to hang out. Let's come up with a podcast. And then we started doing Blank Check.
That is hilarious. Because I asked Pilot if they would want to be in Schmodown. Like when I was looking around for people. And they said they just didn't want to do stuff in front of a camera. But
yes. Pilot does not like being in front of cameras nor microphones, which is very sane and logical.
That's very sane and logical, and I respect the hell out of their decision to do that.
They roll. Pilot's a genius. They're one of the funniest people on the planet.
They kept getting hired out for TV gigs like that I was going for, and every single time I was like, I get it. I mean, they're a savant at television.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, so Alex was a blank check listener. I think knew that whole backstory and went to Christian and was like, I think he might be good at Schmodown, and then was trying to get me scheduled for a match. I mean, I guess this was a couple years ago when the organization of the league was somewhat different.
It was all very different until right now, and I feel like every year that I've been a part of it, like since 2019 on, it's been every year is different until the moment we're in, and it's always evolving.
I was vaguely supposed to do a match when I was out there, and then it didn't happen for a number of reasons. And then I think, but I made the connection with Christian, and then I think he just kind of kept on saying like, "We should really try to get Griffin. We really try to get Griffin." So then Christian messaged me like, out of the blue, I guess, at the beginning of this year, and just said like, "Hey, Marzona, like, threw out to me that maybe you should do this. Would you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm locked in an apartment. Absolutely, I want to do this." So that's the whole thing, is that it's been like, it took like 3 years,
but he finally
he kept on pushing through Christian to bring me in.
When you were getting drafted, I mean, did you have a big talk with Craig or Tom, or like?
I talked with Craig. Yeah, I talked with Craig. Yeah, I was very. Because I watched matches. I mean, when Alex was recommending, I did it like a couple years ago, and I didn't understand there was this much of a lead around it. There was this much of a thing. I understand it's grown and evolved and all of that.
I went into this thing blind. Christian asked me one day. He was like, "You seem like you have a good personality." I was just sitting at Collider desk. I thought he was the IT guy. He didn't know my name. Yeah. He was like, "The guy from the OA is going to be on this weekend on the trivia show. You want to play him?" I love the OA, so I was like, "Sure." Showed up, played Brendan Meyer. Yeah. The moment I got on stage and people started booing, I was like, "Oh, I love this." Yeah. I don't have a background in trivia or wrestling. I just really love the attention.
Of course. It
felt so good that I just went all in.
For me, it's all about the trivia. It's like, that's my, Well, especially, for like years, it was just like David and I pinned our self-worth largely on trivia dominance. But yes, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I mean, because Christian just messaged and said, like, "Do you want me to put you on the draft list?" And I was like, "What does that entail?" And then I started getting messages, and I messaged with some other people. Craig was the only person I sort of like got on Zoom with, and I realized Craig's a really big Tick fan. I had met Craig twice before at conventions.
Oh, that's so funny.
So then we were sort of like reconnecting on that, and then I had no idea what would come of it. I'm getting like pinged. I think Alex maybe DM'd me and was like, "The draft's safe, if you don't know." It's still the pre-vaccine pandemic, so I'm like, I'll watch this thing live. I have no idea. Am I gonna get drafted? Like, am I gonna feel embarrassed that I don't? This list is so long, and the more I'm watching this, I'm like, there's this whole inner web of like reputations and legacies and all this.
And blind wave fans, they're just coming in out of nowhere.
Sure. I didn't really know what to make of it.
We got to our thing.
Hey.
Cheers, Griffin. Loved you in the Tick. Would you come back if the show got picked up again?
Absolutely. I spent today visiting Barry Josephson, who was the producer of the Tick.
Ooh.
And his children, who were very tiny when we made the show and now are far larger, and the passage of time is scary.
It is very scary.
But his daughter was asking me about my feelings on the show and all that sort of stuff. And I said, like, it was incredibly difficult. It was an incredibly difficult show to make. It took a lot out of me. I came out of it with lasting psychological and physical damage.
Jesus.
I happily would have kept doing it as long as they let me, and I would not hesitate to do it again. But it was very difficult.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. But it was a dream job for me. It was like exactly what I wanted to do in so many different ways, that it was like, I will say, in a way, it has. I feel like it's fucked me up a little bit as an actor, because it was so completely everything I wanted to do in so many facets. The type of role I got to play, the genre, the people I got to work with, all this sort of stuff. The fact that I was such a big fan of the thing previously, and all of that. It took so much out of me, but I was willing to give that much because it was something I loved that much. And now when
it's like a relationship.
Yes.
It's like an intense relationship.
And it's hard to get back into another relationship after a bad breakup.
Or think about getting back with the same relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. In a certain way, it's easier to think about getting back to the old relationship, even if there were problems.
Yeah.
But when I look at other stuff now, I'm sort of just like, would would it be taking this much out of me for something I don't care about as much? It set a very high standard for me.
Yeah, I think that's maybe why.
Yeah.
I think that's why television, and again, because I'm just the big proponent of like prestige TV, is like
Yeah.
gone the direction it has. It's because the seasons can be shorter. They can be limited edition. You can get those great talent to show up for it, and you don't have to commit to something that is extended, like an extended commitment of season after season. It's like things can be self-contained, episodic, or seasonally.
It was like a very demanding 1/3 of my year.
Yeah.
And there would be time then on either side to like recover for 4 months and then get ready for the next.
I always thought that would be the weirdest part about being an actor is the downtime. Like, because you have a lot of downtime. I was married to somebody who was a news anchor, and it would be so weird to go to parties, and the famous people would all flock to him because all they do is watch MSNBC during it. Like, they just were the biggest news junkies because they are the ones who are like plugged in. They have so much time to do that between doing sets, and like that would drive me batshit.
You're saying like downtime on set or downtime in between jobs or both?
Both. Both. Like there's just a lot of time of thinking and just waiting for you to be called up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons like doing the podcast has helped me in doing things like Schmodown or whatever. It's nice to have things that are like...
order your life,
to order your life a little bit.
I got really into Pokemon. Game. Not playing, playing the Switch game, but went from like zero interest in Pokemon to finding somebody's cards in the back of their closet and just being like, okay, I'll try to sell them online. Yeah. Now it's just like my life, and I've gotten to other card games.
I've gotten too into collecting too many different things.
Really?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is an absolute nightmare.
Like, give me an example.
Well, like it's so many different facets of things now. But like, I have come out of this trip, I believe, with perhaps. No, I'm upping the number now. I think maybe 9 different collectible glasses.
Oh no, Griffin, no! Like what? Okay.
Like souvenir, like upcharge glasses, like theme park things, weird like themed things, like movie tiki mugs, but then glasses that are sort of like replicas of old like Burger King tie-in.
You get them here?
Into glasses. It's not like I come to LA to get glasses.
Okay.
I was here for the He-Man convention.
At conventions, you got to get stuff. I mean,
right. So I got one there, and then I went to Disneyland, and I got a couple more there.
Okay.
And then I went to Universal, and I got a couple more there.
Oh my god.
It was not. It's only, I guess, because I did a convention and then 2 theme parks.
I mean, I did that. I'm not sure if I said this on air or not, but like I do the same thing. I get into something, and it's like that adaptation, like the Chris Cooper adaptation. Like, I get so into something.
Hyper-focused.
And then one day I wake up and I'm like, fuck fish. Like, and that's how much fuck fish.
I'm
all out.
Yeah.
But like, I realize it's the obsession that makes it worth having, not the actual item. It can be anything. It can literally be anything.
Yeah. So my big thing is like on the Masters of the Universe Revelation, I play Orko.
Oh, you're on that show.
I'm on that show. I play Orko, who's a character I've always like loved, and I've been a fan of He-Man and stuff for decades.
And he's a ghost or a magician?
He's a magician. He looks sort of ghostly because he's like a floating robe.
Yeah.
And then you can't see his face; you just see his eyes. He's a Trollin, which is sort of like a troll-like magical species. But you see his blue ears poke out of his hat, and then other than that, he's got a scarf around him. You just see his eyes poking through, and he looks a little like a ghost.
He looks like Pokemon.
He looks like a Pokemon. He does, and he looks like a Final Fantasy character. I forget the name of because I didn't play that game.
People love to draw him. Like your Instagram has proven that people love to get tattoos, draw this guy.
Yeah.
Fan favorite.
But so I got the part maybe right before the pandemic started.
Jesus Christ.
It's such a long process.
Your career seems so traumatic.
In certain ways, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain, but in certain ways, sure. I got cast and then started working right before the pandemic, and then everything was sort of held back for a while. I'd done a lot of it, and everything was sort of on pause for a while. But it was very easy for me to hyperfixate on, what if I tried to collect every single Orko thing that's ever been made?
No!
And there's such an easy justification there, because I'm like, well, it's my character.
Yeah, I am
research, business write-off, tax expense.
Oh my god, business write-off.
I could not.
That's how big Hollywood gets you.
I know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
You can have the Garfield house from like, I'm sorry to bother you, but it's just Orko.
That's what it feels like. I just have so much fucking Orko stuff now. But as you said, part of it is the hunt of like trying to figure out what is out there.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like, Right.
I go to online estate sales.
Yes.
I go to like auction things
Right.
online. Yeah.
You're trying. It's as much about the thrill of the hunt, the identification of the things, and like I met 2 people at the convention who like had major Orko collections. We were all comparing notes about like
I love
where
that.
do you find that? I have this. I don't have that.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff where like because He-Man was so big for a while, they made everything. They just made every type of merchandise.
Oh, like in the OG days.
Yeah. So then you look and you're like, okay, there's a Skeletor toothbrush.
Yeah. Skeletor, like Shay's Lounge.
Right, and you're like, did they make the other characters? You find one item, right?
Yeah.
And then you immediately have to track what company made this.
Yeah.
And did they also make an Orko version?
And is there like a Japanese version of it that's slightly different?
Well, I mean, I've been focusing on the American stuff, and now I'm starting to slip into the variations.
I got it. My thing with Pokemon is like it's Japanese or bust for me because their shit.
You're all Japanese. Wow.
I mean,
okay.
I have the US stuff, but like the Japanese stuff is so much crazier looking. It's so much more bonkers. It's like their version of what they think Pokemon look like, it is bonkers.
Well, He-Man, like, very big in South America at the time, and even has sort of stayed bigger in South America than it did in North America for many years. So there's a lot of cool bootleg stuff, which I've now gotten into as like Orko folk art. You know, where you're like the ways in which they're done wrong and things like that. Yeah. And then my big holy grail now is that in Brazil, I believe in only Brazil.
Okay, we have a Brazilian person that used to be a co-host on the show, so he might be able to get this for you.
In only Brazil, Orko is named Gorpo.
Oh no!
It's because of some rights issue with something else, but I'm always trying to find like mint in package stuff that says Gorpo instead of Orko, which does not hit eBay very often.
You know what? We're gonna have to get Danny on this. Let's make a note. Danny Crowboy, we have to get you getting Gorpo stuff because they have a weird name for Big Bird too. It's like they have a meth-looking Big Bird who like is blue with cracked out eyes.
This is the exact same thing, and someone explained it to me once, but there's like the name Orko has some other association, either with a person or a slang term for something else.
Okay.
So they named him Gorpo instead.
Gorpo is so funny.
Gorpo's
hilarious.
Yeah.
Because we're already at the hour-long mark.
Okay.
I want to play like maybe two rounds, quick rounds of this game.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That is very clever. Because it's perfect for this. It is make this toy into a movie, and we pick toys that are not movies ever, which is apparently pretty hard to do. Yeah. Because Garbage Pail Kids, a movie
I love. I mean, it's my favorite bad movie. I'm not someone who has a lot of like The Room style.
You don't movies. Like McAmee? Like it's not McAmee?
I'm not saying Garbage Pail Kids occupies the McAmee slot for me, but that's my favorite movie of that.
Okay.
I enjoy McAmee. Garbage Pail Kids I watch obsessively. It is equally confounding where you just want to study it and pull it apart. And
I mean, I grew up with Mr. Chanceater. That's what me and my dad used to like raise me on, was a diet of Mr. Chanceater. So like, to me, it's like indistinguishable between good movies and movies that are just like bad, but you have so much fun watching them.
Garbage Pail Kids is very bizarre because it's like a musical and it's a children's film, but it's also like a Flashdance ripoff.
Oh my god!
And it's got these horrifying robots in it.
It's like Howard the Ducky kind of, or Ducky.
Yeah, but like stranger, like truly more strange. I recommend it to anyone who likes any of the types of movies you've just mentioned. McAmee, Howard the Duck, Garbage Pail Kids. They're on an equilibrium. Not equilibrium. What's the term?
Spectrum.
A spectrum. Thank you.
I do have a weird. Made me cry as a kid. Strange. That's strange because you were scared, or because it affected you. Yeah.
You wish you had rented something else. You wasted a rental.
The scene with the going down the cliff.
The Paul Rudd clip.
The Paul Rudd clip is amazing.
See, I would argue Garbage Pail Kids movie has clips that are even weirder than that. I would like people to.
The Garbage Pail Kid, guys. Let's watch it.
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids movie.
Okay, so game pick. Put this classic toy as a movie.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm trying to pull up the photo of the thing. There we go. See, that's the Black Lodge.
I know what it is. Right. I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it, but I do know what it is. Yeah.
Etch-a-Sketch. Well, this is a real, not to use pun, but a blank canvas.
Truly.
Truly a blank canvas.
Well, I mean, Etch-a-Sketch, of course, did play a role in Toy Story.
Yes.
So he's got bona fides. I don't want to gender him.
Yeah.
Etch-a-Sketch, they have...
Oh, you want a brave little toaster it. It's like...
I'm just saying that we know Etch-a-Sketch plays on camera. that there's some screen presence there.
I was thinking more of MacGuffin, like the Etch-a-Sketch is like the Infinity Gauntlet or something. Like you can create a universe with an Etch-a-Sketch, and like it's the MacGuffin thing. Maybe it is an entity, like it is alive.
That's an interesting idea. I mean, I'm just saying, I think Etch-a-Sketch gives a good performance in Toy Story. Right? So I'm just thinking, like, you want to use Etch-a-Sketch as a performer wisely. But I do think the plot, I don't think the movie can be Etch-a-Sketch as a character and then it goes on an adventure. I think the plot has to hinge on the inherent ability of the Etch-a-Sketch. Right. Which I think, look, right there, what do we see? It says magic screen. So let's take that literally. Right. The screen is magical. I think you're on a good point here, which is like, it's a story about whatever you draw in the Etch-a-Sketch comes to life. Oh, right? Yeah, I love that. It's like kind of, it's not a horror version. No. But it's like, you know how they turned Ouija into like, Mike Flanagan made a second great Ouija movie. Yeah. Using the concept of Ouija as a MacGuffin. I think that there's something there that you're there's something there. You're never ending story it, or never ending story. Yes. Page Master? Yeah, it's a little like that. It's like Girl in the Purple Crayon or something like that. Yes. I think that's what you do. It's about building a fantasy world with the magical magic screen. Done. Next one. 200 million domestic. Done. 200 million. This is a billion. Who would direct that? Who would direct that? Tim Story. Tim Story. Sure. Yeah. Let Tim Story. Let's do it. Bop It. Ooh, this is tough. What is a Bop It again? Drew. You jumped around it? No, that's. I think you're thinking of what was it? Kick It. Kick it. You like hopped around it. Okay. Yeah. Skip It. That was called Skip It. What is this? Bop It is. It's like Simon. You remember Simon the game where you have to remember the pattern of. Oh yeah, I know Simon. So it's that kind of like handheld electronic game with sound, and it's got 3 things you do: twist it, the yellow, you twist it. Right? Oh, I saw this advertised all the time on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. Yeah, bop it, you smack it, the button, and then pull it. You know. Okay, so I resist the urge to just MacGuffin it again. And it's like Simon Says, where it's like, bop it, boom. Yeah. Twist it, boom. You're just following the. Well, that's going to be hard to make into a movie. It gets faster and faster. It's hard to make because the trajectory of it is conformity and like obeying, obeying. And repetition. It's the same thing happening over and over and over again. The stakes intensifying. So maybe it's like Wreck-It Ralph in the sense that the story is about breaking out of the system with Bop It. Interesting. So like the goal is to lose. You know, I was going to go in a very opposite direction. Okay, go ahead. I was going to go like Saw with it. That it's oh whoa, that's so good. This is the twisted game. Yes, you have to play it. People are fighting for their freedom. They're bopping it, twisting it, and pulling it for their freedom. And I love it. You're trying to understand who is this sick mind. Mm-hmm. And at the end, maybe the twist is it turns out to be like Milton Bradley. I would say this is a Willy Wonka-like scenario. Right. I love that. Yeah. So it's like they're in a warehouse. Even it's like the same one for both Wonka and Saw. These speakers are just. And then they're having to follow all these commands and figure out how to escape. Oh, I love why they've been kidnapped. Maybe one of them, like maybe they are the mechanisms too. Like it's like one of them's dressed in yellow, one of them's dressed in blue, and one of them's the purple. Right. And they're just like hitting each other and like. Right. It's 3 people. They don't know. They wake up in a room. They wake up. What's the connection? Who brought us here? Yeah. Maybe it's played backwards, like Memento. Twist it, pull it. Yeah. I love it. Have you seen the escape room movies? Yes, can we talk? Have you seen the second one? No, has it come out already? It has. It was a real victim of the pandemic. Oh my god. I would say. The first movie I saw, and I was like, I don't think there's a movie that could be worse than this. And then the next day, I love it. The next day I saw Fantasy Island, and I was like, oh, never mind. Fucking amazing movie, Escape Room. I will say, I love Escape Room. I love Escape Room 2 even more. Oh, wow. I think it's really good. Well, the thing about Escape Room for me is it's reminiscent of the movie that I find like one of my top 5 movies unironically of all time, which is Cube. Yes, very similar to Cube. But it's almost like whereas Cube does the thing where it's like, you don't really need to know who's pulling the strings. That's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is to focus on the human conditions and the people involved. Yes. Yeah. Escape Room is almost like I felt like overly explanatory about like what their thing is. Sure, but I think the answers are so satisfyingly bug nuts. It's like I forget what it was in the first one. It's like a society. It's like a hostel. It's like a society of rich people who. It's a hostel. Yes. Okay. Yes, a little bit. Yeah, but it's a really insane, large, all-encompassing, all-powerful organization that, especially when you get to the sequel, you're like, they can do anything they want. Well, that's what seemed weird about the first one is the implication that they have, it's like New World Order. Yes. Yeah. Okay, right. Perfect. Okay. Let's try to do 1 or 2 more of these and we're out. Cube is dope. Cube is the best movie. Cube rules. Vincenzo. This is a running bit we have on Blank Check. Really? That Cube to Hypercube
is the best title ever.
Right, that like people like to make the Electric Boogaloo jokes, but the funniest sequel title structure is blank to hyper blank.
Hyper blank.
So whenever we joke about movies having sequels, we call them blank to hyper blank.
That's so good because it's to the power of 2 would be a hypercube.
Yeah.
That's.
And then we recently did a second episode on the movie Clifford for a bunch of reasons.
Oh, I love that movie.
So we called the episode Clifford to Hyper Clifford. But that's, we just love blank to hyper blank.
It's why I know the term Tesseract. It's not from the Marvel movie, folks.
No.
It's because...
From that cube, baby.
Because the fourth dimension is time.
Fourth dimension is time.
The fourth dimension is time, guys.
And the fifth element's love.
Fifth element is her. And they uses love.
Right.
We just did a quiz on this.
Okay.
Okay. I was very confused as well. I also wrote love as the answer.
Yeah. No,
fifth element
so
is not
technically her.
She's the fifth element.
But the love unlocked it?
Yeah, the love unlocks her, yeah.
She needs love.
Easy Bake Oven. That's the most industrial looking Easy Bake Oven I've ever seen.
That must be the first iteration. It looks it's depressing. It looks like some kind of a gulag.
Yes. This looks Russian.
Yeah. Okay. This is tough. I mean, my mind immediately
These are hard. These are not games even so much because they're objects.
Well, look, you got to apply like Hollywood exact brain, right? Okay. So the first way to craft a movie is like, what's another successful movie, right?
Okay.
So I look at the Easy Bake Oven, I'm immediately thinking Ratatouille, right? I'm immediately thinking, not literally, but I'm going,
not this, but this.
This has to be about a little chef.
Oh, like a tiny chef.
For some reason, it has to be about a chef so small that they need the tiniest of kitchens and the tiniest of ovens.
What if it was like, okay, not this, but this, but like, this is a guy who's like in a universe where he's like an elf or like some sort of like a dwarf or like some of these Lord of the Rings things. Yeah. But he just wants to side quest it and bake, and that's just his thing. Is he doesn't want to be performative in the like warrior sense, and he wants to go bake. And the whole thing is like, can he run a successful baking company when there's all this like, his dad and his brothers are off and battling, and it's considered not gender normative in his society to be a baker.
Drew, this is a huge idea because I don't think you even realize what you've just done.
What I do?
Not only have we come up with an Easy Bake Oven movie, but I would argue this could also function as a Keebler elf origin story.
Oh my god!
Right?
Yes.
It's both.
Yes, because that's not revealed till the end.
So we get Kenner puts up 50% of the budget, Keebler puts up the other 50% of the budget.
This is the new Lego movie.
This is the new Lego movie.
And also, we're also effectively selling Easy Bake Ovens to a whole new, the other half of the population that was not considered the target audience.
Do you remember the Queasy Bake Oven?
I feel like all you do is talk about like Garbage Pail Kids and Jason stuff.
I like
Mad TV.
Gross boy thing. No, it was like they tried to make like a boys' Easy Bake Oven.
They're like, what's the difference between sugar and spice and everything nice? Is it just worms and tails and puppy?
It was like you make like fucking mud cakes with gummy worms and shit like that.
Big mud pies?
Yeah, I was really into it and I wanted it. My mom never got it for me, and then she got it for me for Christmas when I was like 16. It meant a lot to me, but then I had to go through the ritual like, oh, now I'm going to make this.
Yeah, you have to do it.
It tastes terrible.
Yeah, how many worms did you put in there? Too many?
I think just enough. I think that wasn't the problem. I think the cake mix wasn't great. But Queasy Bake Oven.
Queasy Bake Oven. The Keebler versus...
That's a sequel. That's a sequel. So the first movie, Keebler Elves.
Yeah.
Easy Bake Oven. The sequel is Garbage Pail Kids, Queasy Bake Oven.
And then the tagline is hot crossover.
Hot crossover.
That's so good. That's so good, Troy. Hey, also nice to see you, Troy. It's been
nice to see you, Troy.
Nice to see you. Hyper Bake Oven.
Hyper Bake Oven.
I love this. Who we get directed on this one? Let's see.
This feels like a Sean Levy.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at people who make maudlin.
Yeah. Okay.
Effects-driven family films.
Yeah. So Zemeckis.
We didn't Bop It. We didn't pick a director, did we?
Oh no. Who do Bop It? So I mean, first thought. It goes to James Wan.
So James Wan does Bop It.
James Wan's Bop It.
Tim Story does what was our first one?
Oh, Tim Story did what was it? It was the other Etch-a-Sketch.
No Memory, right. Tim Story does Etch-a-Sketch.
Or like you'd give it to Lord and Miller. They did some good with the Lego movie. Who thought?
I think we gotta save. We want to give them their hottest pitch. I don't think we've hit
that
something that's Lord and Miller.
Jon Favreau did Chef, maybe.
Jon Favreau could do a little, and he loves doing these photorealistic CGI movies.
And he already did an Elf movie.
Yeah, so Jon Favreau's gonna do Easy Bake Oven.
Malignant 2, Bop It. Malignant 2, just hyper malignant. Okay, let's do one more of these.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do it.
Maybe this is the Lord and Miller.
Oh yeah.
Light Bright.
I was so into Light Bright. I feel like the issue of this is you're hitting into the Etch a Sketch issue, which is like.
Well, no, but see, this is why you got not this, but this, right?
Okay.
I'm looking at Light Bright. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Sci-fi.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
Like let's bring this into a whole different galaxy.
Okay,
This has to be a sci-fi premise. This is about literally lighting up the stars.
Okay.
You know?
So it's about like an entity that lights up stars, or the Light Bright is the device, or again, I guess I'm always getting my mind around, is it the MacGuffin or is it the character?
Maybe
like the Light Brights are maybe the name of the creatures who enact it.
Oh, you're thinking creatures. I was almost thinking like Light Brights, they're like starfighter pilots.
Oh, I was thinking like midichlorians.
But like the exhaust of their ships. But no, but now I hear what you're saying. The Light Brights are like a species. They were binding the universe together.
Yes.
It's like a quest for the Light Brights.
Well, or the Light Brights, we're following the Light Brights and they're being driven out of the universe by like the darkness or whatever, and like we're being eaten up by, it's like some Doctor Who like shit.
But it could be like the abyss in space where they're like going deeper and deeper to find like what is controlling the universe, and it's the Light Brights. And
then what is controlling the Light Brights? The child at the center of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right, these two kids, they're the two gods in the universe.
I think
they're the ones who control the Light Bright.
This is actually the plot of Under the Dome, I think. No spoilers for the
Stephen
King book Under the Dome.
Which is the same plot as Simpsons movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think in that, spoiler, if you haven't watched the TV show, it was awful, or the book. But it turns out the dome is aliens, alien children who have put basically the equivalent of ants under a microscope, or under a magnifying glass.
I did not know that's what that ends up being about.
That's what that's about. Yeah. So they're so they have to convince an alien child to let them go.
Wow.
And that's a real awesome one.
Wow, Mater.
It's like Celestials and Eternals. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the time
Absolutely
Lords
correct.
Right.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you. It's like Sunshine, says NerdChronic. That would also be good. A horror version of it.
I love Sunshine.
Sunshine has the best. It has a really good score, and we were watching.
It's now reused in everything.
We were watching Wonder Woman 1984, and NerdChronic goes, "Is that the score for Sunshine?"
It went from being used in every trailer to now just being used in other movies. They just steal the score and put it in other movies.
Why can they do that? How can they do that for that specific score?
Shouldn't be legal.
I think it was Hans. Was it Hans Zimmer's score?
It's not. It's what's his name? Don. No, I'm forgetting. It's not someone who's like one of the big composers. It was like a weird Danny Boyle. I want to say it's like an electronic musician.
Oh, is it Daft Punk?
No.
Okay, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. I have the soundtrack.
John Murphy.
John Murphy. There we go. I was gonna say Don Murphy, but Don Murphy produced Transformers. John Murphy did the Sunshine soundtrack.
Wow.
I think he's
an
an electronic
related?
musician.
That'd be really mean of the parents.
John Don
Murphy.
John Don Murphy.
Yeah, the parents really wanted to say John Don.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
John Don.
Oh, Hans Zimmer did do WW84.
But he didn't do that one.
Not that one, which is bonkers. I think that's what I'm remembering being the problem. Is he didn't do the Sunshine score, so how do you get the rights to just put that in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that means Danny Boyle will have to direct this movie.
Okay, Danny Boyle's directing Light Bright.
That's it.
I love it.
So do you have time for one more, or should we?
Yeah.
Let's do one more.
Let's do one more.
Perfect. Thank you, by the way, so much for staying and doing all this and for being a person in person.
Oh, okay. This is a perfect last one because this is going to take everything we've got to crack this.
This has to be like a Bjork movie. This has got to be like some Lars von Trier study of.
Interesting.
I mean,
maybe
what are you gonna do with it?
Maybe it's Matthew Barney. Maybe we go full Cremaster cycle with this.
I can't remember his name. But
right, but maybe the Slinky movie is non-narrative.
Well, here's what I was going to say, and I didn't want to.
Take off our studio exec hats, put on our Cahiers du Cinema hats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I was going to say I think this is an independently funded David Lynch movie. I know you guys thought I was going to go there, but this is Eraserhead.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I think it's a cursed object movie, but not in a plot-driven way. No. In more of a tone way.
Almost like a Maya Deren Meshes of the Afternoon.
It's definitely black and white.
Yeah, it's the Slinky as a cursed object, as an unnatural.
Right.
Yeah, it's just Slinky in different environments it's not supposed to be in. So a Slinky in the middle of the woods, that's upsetting.
Minimal dialogue.
Yeah. So stuff is happening around the Slinky. Maybe there's you see a fight from the perspective of a Slinky, so it's just like a man and woman fighting in the woods, and you kills her, and then you're just like lying there with the body, and you're just Slinky. You're
ambient noise soundtrack.
Yes,
right.
Slinky Head, I think, is exactly where I'm
going. And like people call it a horror movie, but then horror fans watch it and they're like, "That's not scary."
However, A24 did produce it, so it's like
they tricked people.
Yeah.
People went and saw it, got upset at the mall.
Is this an Ari Aster film? Possibly.
No, because I think
that's too narrative.
Yeah.
It's scary but slinky. Yeah, that's the thing.
It could be. It could be Robert Eggers.
Yeah. Oh wow. Could be Robert Eggers.
It could be Robert Eggers Slinky.
It could also be not David Mitchell. The guy who did
David Lowery.
Under the Silver Lake.
No, that's yes.
Is his name also David Mitchell?
But isn't it a 3-part name? Isn't it David something Mitchell? Something David Mitchell.
Is it Robert David Mitchell? But then I think I'm just confusing Mitchell and Webb people like David Robert Mitchell. Maybe. Hey, I was absolutely thinking of the Eddie Murphy delirious ending about the Slinky. So.
Oh yeah.
That's right. It's a spiritual film.
It's a spiritual film.
I think it is. It's like, yeah, I love it, guys. This has been great.
It's been fun.
Glad to end on this note. Slinky has Eraserhead. Slinky has. Guys, go to sleep tonight just thinking about why.
Think about Slink.
Think about how somebody created just an iron coil and was like, for kids. How'd Sucker Proxy sell? For kids.
Larry Fessenden Slinky. I like that idea.
Larry Fessenden.
I love Larry Fessenden.
Why am I the name? Like, wait. I know. He's from like the Delaware region. Yeah.
He's the Glass Eye Picks guy.
Yeah.
He's in charge of that.
Graham Resnick and him.
Yes,
Graham Resnick
absolutely.
is my buddy from Delaware.
Yes.
Because I don't have like the cool New York connections, but I do have the 4 people from Delaware that I know.
Larry's like the king of like New York indie horror.
He's got he looks like Jack Nicholson who's like missing a tooth.
Yes,
correct. That's exactly.
He rules. I was in a movie of his that went straight to Chiller.
Oh,
which I think is now perhaps a defunct cable channel devoted to horror movies.
No, Chiller's still around.
Does it still exist?
Yeah, Chiller's definitely.
I feel like Shudder has really eaten Chiller's lunch.
But you have to remember, there are people who when we go to some NerdChronic's parents, there are people who just watch TV.
Who just watch TV, sure.
Yeah.
It was a movie called Beneath, about a bunch of teens going out in a rowboat, and then there's a prehistoric fish that tries to eat them all.
I might have seen this movie.
I
might have seen it.
Spoilers, I get eaten by a fish.
Oh no. I've seen I Can See You, which is like their that's a fantastic one.
Yes. Graham Resnick rules. He worked on that movie.
Yeah.
Awesome dude.
Guys, if you played the game Until Dawn, Graham Resnick is the director of that game.
Right, he and Larry wrote that whole thing together. Yeah. And Graham was like my best friend in the woods of Connecticut for like a month. We just nerded out about movies.
We know so many of the same people.
We know so many of the same people.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's great to have finally met you though.
Nice.
The confluence of the universe allow for this.
Absolutely.
Where can people find you? I mean, I'm sure people know, but where can they find you?
I'm grifflighting on social media, but I'm always one step away from abandoning social media forever. So follow at your own peril.
Yeah.
Blink Check is the best place to find me. Blink Check with Griffin and David, wherever podcasts are found. We're doing the John Carpenter movies, as we said earlier. So Christine just came out today.
Oh wow!
We're going chronologically through all of them. So it's been a real good run. Yeah, because we've gotten to do like Halloween, Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, Christine in a row. That's a good
pretty good.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then I think next is Starman.
I have not seen Starman actually.
Starman's good.
I don't think I've seen Christine either.
Starman's good, and then we've recorded that one. The next one we have to record this week is In the Mouth of Madness, which I've never seen before.
So good, dude! Hit me up after you've seen that.
I will.
Just know about the blue scene.
Yeah,
that's the big scene in that movie.
Okay. Yeah, you can listen to the podcast and then watch me on Schmodown.
Yeah, you've got it. Do you have a match coming up, or are you just waiting for the result of who wins the next one?
Live
Live
show, New York, October 9th. I think tickets still available.
And I think I still might go.
Hey,
yeah,
that'd be very cool.
That would be very cool.
And then I'm in the teams division too with
Khan?
Jeffrey King Khan.
Yeah,
who I think is a beast. I think people don't know how good this guy is.
King Arthur is the name of your team.
King Arthur, because I'm Arthur and he's the king.
And you have a match coming up against I believe it's the Lon and Paul.
Yes, I'm forgetting team names, but it's Lon.
Final Exam.
Yes,
right?
Final Exam. Yes.
Oh, that's gonna be hard to vote for because Lon was over here recording a podcast earlier today, so. Really, my alliances are split. I'm gonna have to recuse myself.
It'll be on the edge of your seat. I watched that match.
Gotta see it.
Yeah.
As for me, you can find me. I'm Videodrew. It's one word across all social media.
Another donation. Best of luck in New York. Can't wait to see it.
Best of luck in
from NerdChronic.
He's in the next room.
Look at that.
Yeah. You can
have to pay him $15.
Yeah, he's gonna demand that back.
You can suck on this cloud quickly while you finish saying.
So you can find me at Videodrew across all social. You can also find me now at anchor.fm/Videodrew or look up Content Candy wherever podcasts are found.
What?
Yeah, on iTunes and everything. It's the name of my overall network.
Amazing.
Do you like it? It's like num-nums for your ears.
I like it. Num-nums.
Yeah, it's so good.
You're num-nums.
You're num-nums. Or you can check me out on this channel. Please hit a like and subscribe. I always forget to say this. Comment, do all that stuff.
Yes.
Just assume that I'm going to say the things that all your podcasts are supposed to say.
Write to your local senators.
Write to your senators. Leave a review. 5 stars. Comment, rate, blah, blah. It helps with keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you. Sponsorship by, XY here. And, we do the VideoChronic quizzes Mondays and Thursdays, Tuesdays Cinema Bias. We're starting our thing, and it's not biting off blank check, but we did all the films of John Patrick Shanley.
I assure you, it is not a proprietary concept. We do not lay claim.
Now we're doing James Mangold, starting with Kate and Leopold, because I think he has a very schizophrenic career. He has
a very bizarre career.
I'm looking forward to doing
very bizarre career.
And then check out everything that I do. It's great. And this show is every other Sunday, and then the Saturdays intermingling with it. Usually, the opposite ones are me and Adam Collins doing Why Are We Like This, about our pivotal pop culture moments and artifacts. This week it was the same week, but usually it's not.
Mine would be about renting the Garbage Pail Kids movie 15 times.
Will you come on and talk about that one week?
Yeah, happily.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to see you later, and thank you. Bye-bye.